In this video, we will explain our proposals for what should be included in a new Buchan Railway feasibility study. The route will leave the existing line in Dice, recreating the island platform that existed before the line closures of the 1960s. This will require a new pier to be added to the existing footbridge and walking access to be retained to both businesses. In line with Nestran's proposals, a new 200-space car park will be provided, which links directly to Victoria Street. Leaving Dice, the route follows the Formartine and Buchan Way. On these sections, the public footpath will be retained alongside the railway, as has been achieved in other projects around Scotland, such as between Airdrie and Bathgate. The railway can pass under the A947 and Aberdeen Western Peripheral route unobstructed, avoiding the need for extensive works on the roads, as was required during the construction of the Borders Railway. Near Newmacher, the railway will take a more direct route, as was recommended by the previous Ellen-only study. Deviating from the Formartine and Buchan Way in this section avoids unnecessarily tight bends, allowing for a higher line speed and better positioning of a modern railway station. A joint Newmacher and Kingseat station will be positioned between the villages, allowing for easy access from both. This site is adjacent to the existing streetlit Newmacher-Kingseat footpath, providing safe active travel access to the station. The route then continues on and rejoins the Formartine and Buchan Way. Again, the cycle path will be retained alongside. At Udley Station, the line will peel off towards Pitmedden. Pitmedden has never had a railway station, but the population and the size of the village makes it feasible to reach by rail today. There are two suitable station sites on the southeast of Pitmedden. Both allow access without requiring cars to enter the village, and both are connected to the village by a streetlit path, shown here in white. Leaving Pitmedden, the line will round a bend to remain level on the gradient, then head for Ellen. Again, we're approaching the Formartine and Buchan Way. This diversion to Pitmedden is the same length as the section of path we left behind. The line to Ellen is 14 miles long. In total, these proposals only utilise 7 miles of the Formartine and Buchan Way. This leaves half of the route to Ellen as is, and provides path alongside the railway for the other half. The Aberdeenshire Council depot on Hospital Road has already been safeguarded for a railway station in the most recent local development plan. This site has good road access, as well as being within walking distance on streetlit pavements from all of Ellen. The historic path of the Bodden branch line is now a row of houses, shown here by the dashed line. Rather than demolish 15 homes or rip up part of the golf course, the line will take a short, new path. Both of these options are relatively low speed, but at less than a mile, impact on journey time will be negligible. We propose a new rail freight depot alongside the Ellen bypass, while the railway continues along the historic Bodden branch. The majority of this route is in great condition. Embankments, cuttings and other infrastructure are all still in place, and there is no existing cycle path to replace alongside. Today, we have an opportunity to build railways that are better than what came before. At Bogbrae, the historic route is shown in orange. This path includes 2 A90 crossings and a station at Hatton. In yellow is our suggested alternative. This route is largely flat and can be designed to a much higher line speed than the orange route. If this is chosen, an active travel path should be provided between Hatton and Cruden Bay. Both of these options should be examined as part of a future feasibility study. The line then enters Cruden Bay after crossing a rebuilt viaduct. This path is safeguarded for a railway in the most recent local development plan, and the old brickworks makes for a suitable station site. Cruden Bay has the potential to become a beacon for tourism on this railway, attracting people to the area and providing reliable, sustainable access to the existing attractions. Continuing along the path of the former branch, the line follows surviving cuttings and groundworks towards Bodden, providing incredible views towards the cliffs on the way. The Bodden branch never did reach Peterhead, so this line will cross the A90 around Stirling Hill to then join the former Peterhead Prison Railway, allowing the line to reach Peterhead without fringing on the power station or new substation sites. There are many options for Peterhead stations. These first two make the most of the former prison railway. Option 1 on the south side of Peterhead will likely see most people drive to the station, but is within walking distance of Bodden. That said, this site is on main bus routes and is connected to the towns by street-lit pavements. This site is also suitable to be used as a rail freight terminal, if not a station. The next option continues along an existing embankment around Sandford Bay. This is by far the most scenic Peterhead approach. This route can provide a direct rail freight link to the South Pier and Ascot terminal, allowing vessels to load and unload directly onto the railway. Meanwhile, the passenger line will cross the road and at a slower speed travel around the new prison on flat ground. The final section will be built into the existing embankment or bridged to reach a terminus above the Lido. This option is much more central, within walking distance for a significant portion of the town, on major bus routes and is close to attractions. The existing car park can be utilised by the railway or extended if necessary. Next, a station can be positioned near the B&Q. This site has the same pros and cons as the first option, but requires one less A90 crossing. The final two options continue around the town towards the Formartine and Buchan Way. The first of these is a site on the West End. In yellow is the planned South Ugie development, and included in these is a safeguarded site for a station. While this safeguarding is for a railway using the route of the Formartine and Buchan Way, it is a good site if a line to Fraserburgh is routed via Peterhead, or can serve as a complementary park and ride station in addition to the next and final option, allowing drivers and buses from nearby towns to connect with the station without having to enter Peterhead town centre. The last option continues on the Formartine and Buchan Way into Peterhead to the site of the historic Peterhead railway station. This is possible because the academy that currently occupies the site is due to be demolished in 2025. The site is the most central of all, being an easy walking distance to nearby attractions and the town centre, as well as being culturally significant. Whichever station option is selected, this railway between Dice and Peterhead is directly comparable to the Borders Railway. Both are 35 miles long, both are based on former railway alignments, and the population distribution is similar along both alignments. The technical challenge of constructing this railway in a single phase is no more significant than previous rail projects completed since devolution. In fact, many of the technical challenges that were faced during construction of the Borders Railway are not present in these Buchan proposals. Of course, we also need to connect Fraserburgh, and there are many ways of doing so. We'll start with two that continue from Peterhead. This first option creates a brand new line, stopping along the way at St Fergus, Crimond and Inverallohy. While population in this area is relatively low, these stops serve some key locations such as St Fergus Gas Terminal and Crimond Medical Centre, as well as tourist attractions such as RSPB sites. Alternatively, if it is difficult to ensure the railway competes with the car, we can connect directly to Fraserburgh, entering the town by the Formartine and Buchan Way near Wrathan, replacing the path alongside for that final stretch. This is a good option for Fraserburgh itself, but does force those in surrounding communities to travel further to the railway to make use of it. Choosing to reach Fraserburgh directly from Peterhead allows for a rail freight connection at St Fergus. This will be particularly useful as the plant proceeds with the Acorn carbon capture project. The other way of designing this railway is to branch at Ellen. These two options easily outpace the journey by road and provide a much larger catchment area for the entire railway. This is the preferred option by Fraserburgh councillors and Community Council. Firstly, we can simply reopen the Formartine and Buchan Way between Ellen and Fraserburgh with stops at Maud and Strichen. Previous studies have already confirmed this route is competitive, and these stops both have significant populations within reasonable driving distance. However, the path will have to be replaced along the entire length of the route. Alternatively, a new railway can be designed using a short section of the historic line stopping at Mintlaw rather than Maud. Mintlaw is a growing and popular town with many attractions nearby. Its central position between Longside and Maud on the Formartine and Buchan Way makes it accessible by active travel from many surrounding settlements, as well as having frequent bus links from all around. The higher cost of this brand new line may in fact be less than replacing the entire length of the Formartine and Buchan Way, with the added bonus of leaving the cycle path as the quiet countryside walk that it is today. The Scottish Government cooperation deal promises a new feasibility study that will look at connecting Ellen, Peterhead and Fraserburgh. The options shown here have never been examined before and should be the focus of the new study when it launches. These proposals are explained in detail in our framework document. In it you'll find route maps, explanations of work required, advantages and disadvantages, and further analysis. Proposals are also available online with interactive route maps. Clicking on each element will open a text box that explains what's going on in detail.